that pop up. That's an easy one. Well, the Jaggies come from the star system, Tepti Vad Nerole Rockray. And, you know, I didn't just make that up. It's actually the name of the star system. But, of course, if you reverse order the letters, and then you shift all the letters to the left, and, oh, what's this? We regroup them? Okay, well, that's the name of the people who worked on. Charlie Kellner showed you in the first picture. He did the flight dynamics so that, you know, when you push the joystick forward, it actually figure out what the forces should be to make it feel like you're flying a real object rather than a rock. And Lauren did all the 3D, the fractals plus 3D hidden line removal, 3D space, or everything to make it a real 3D space. I was a project leader, and I also kind of glued everything together and did the gameplay parts of it. I think Charlie also did the scaling cell animation routines, so to, you know, to have the pilot run closer to you, and he did the sound routines. Peter did the sound effects and most of the music. So what were those weird symbols on the Jaggies shirt? Well, you can't see it all right now, but let's raise them up a bit and zoom in, and let's rotate the image. And, oh, okay, LC, Lauren Carpenter, David Fox, Charlie Kellner, okay. You don't always see them because the Jaggy doesn't always pop up all the way, but they're there. And I know they're there. And of course, since we couldn't get our names all over the place, we were the actors for the manuals and the box covers. So let's zoom in on this picture here. And let's look at the back of the box. Oh, yeah, there I am. So I'm rescuing myself here, I guess. I thought it was very important to have my wedding ring show there so people will see how dramatic it was. You had to really rescue this guy because he was married. That's me again. You can't tell, but that's me from the back. This is a composite shot. So, you know, I'm there leaning against the cockpit. Everything else was composited in afterwards. That's me again. This is Peter, Lauren, and Charlie. Charlie, Lauren, Dave Levine, Peter, Noah Faustine, who didn't work on the games but joined the group in the meantime, and Gary Winnick. And then we launched the games with the press conference where I showed you the video from. For some reason, they didn't want to actually start selling the games in January of 1984, even though we probably could have. I guess they wanted to wait for June because then they'd hit the Christmas market and get more sales. So they waited to the June CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Chicago. There were magazine articles featuring us and the games, and everything was really great. Hold on. Warner Communications, who owned Atari at the time, sells it to Jack Tramiel, who used to own Commodore business machines. It made the Commodore 64. All deals, this is a month after, this is July 1984, all deals got renegotiated. The deal that they wanted us to do wasn't very good, according to us, so we ended up pulling the game from Atari. It was going to go to Epix. We had to re-engineer the games. Rather than being cartridge, they had to go on floppy disks. We had to put in copy protection. They finally got released a year later in 1985. So interestingly, even though the audience first saw the games in the fall of '83, they didn't get released for a couple of years later, year and a half to 2 years later. By then, they weren't these hot, brand new games. It's really frustrating because I don't think they really sold that well, even though everyone knows the games. So we didn't like Jack Tramiel. You can see why we weren't very happy. He was known affectionately within the games group as Jack the Hutt. I thought there was a resemblance to it. So what happened to the Lucasfilm Computer Division? Well, by now we're our own division. We're no longer part of them. We kind of proved ourselves by having games come out. So what did George do with them? Well, he sold it to Steve Jobs in 1986 for $10 million, and it became Pixar. So, second generation. Next two games that we did, I wasn't really a part of, so I'll just zoom through them real fast. They both made use of the Rescue's Fractal Engine. One was Cronus Rift. By this point, we stopped doing Atari. We were now on the Commodore 64. So this one, you're in a tank on terrain. So instead of flying through, you're tanking through. We changed one thing with Commodore. We had more colors to work with, so we were able to kind of fade in the mountains a bit to make them, rather than just pop them in. The team, Ron Gilbert, this is when Ron first joined the company. Eric Wilmender and Noah Faustin was the project leader. And the other game was called the Eidolon, and that was upside down mountains. So you're in caves, and going through these caves, shooting these creatures. And the team for this was Doug Crockford on the left, Gary Winnick, who was the artist on our group, and Charlie Koner. Okay, let's go to Labyrinth. 1986, Lucasfilm produced with Jim Henson the film Labyrinth. This was a major motion picture. This was actually our first opportunity to do a game based on a film. So we decided to say yes, to do it, because we could learn a lot. It should be interesting. David Bowie is the actor in this, and this is Jennifer Connelly, who now has seen lots of films. This is when she was like 15 or 16. So you can rent the movie if you're interested. It's kind of like, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. And this was the first time we were allowed to do a film with a Lucasfilm property. I guess they were maybe testing us to see if we totally screw something up. We got the okay to do this while the film was in post-production. We got to read the script. We saw video pieces of it. The best part, for me anyway, was in January of '86, after we agreed to do this, we went to London for a week of brainstorming. Charlie went, Steve Arnold, who was the general manager of the games division, Brenda Laurel, who was a woman working at Activision. Activision was going to be the publisher of this, and me. And plus, we got to meet with Douglas Adams for a week. So he was on the team brainstorming. And the other guy was Christopher Cerf, who was one of the founders of the National Lampoon magazine and Children's Television Workshop, Sesame Street. He did a lot of the songs and worked for those groups. Also wrote a book called The Officially Politically Correct Dictionary Handbook. Both those guys are brilliant. So after the week of meeting with them, it was up to me to take everything from a week of ideas and kind of somehow turn it into a game. I probably ended up keeping a few things I shouldn't have because, Douglas Adams, it was his idea, So the two things were the fact that in the game, we started it with a text adventure. The idea was, like if you've seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, it starts in black and white. Then when she, in reality, then she goes into the world of Oz, it's all in color. So we start in text adventure, which is kind of black and white, and we go into the game, which is a graphic adventure after you get through this short text adventure. It was kind of a funny idea at the time, but I don't think it played very well. People got a little frustrated with it. Adam Brake the Elephant, I won't go into. That was Douglas's term. It was really silly. It was really funny at the time, and afterwards it just was stupid. Everything else is great. So a few screenshots. This is part of the text adventure. Something we did here, we didn't want to do a parser-based game where you had to type in words and have the computer figure out what you meant. This is already the thinking that went into the SCUM system,